Well, welcome everyone. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, these Zoom sessions are hosted by myself and by Jamie Lee. And we created this just to kind of give people a time to talk about animal Reiki, talk about animal meditation, talk about their animal based businesses, and to get support and also to celebrate each other. This is a really nice community. And I know, Jamie, if you want to say something else about that.
Absolutely. I think it's really important, that we know we're not out there alone, and that's what we're all about. We want you to know you have a safe place to come, and we're all going through the same thing. We're all animal lovers, so we can support each other.
Absolutely. Welcome, Jeffrey. And so you can use the chat. We usually check the chat. You can, hi, Jeffrey. Thank you for joining us. You can use the chat. We usually have you, if you want to comment or contribute, raise your hand, or you can use the emoji if you know how to do that in Zoom, or you can unmute yourself if we see you do that. Unmuting yourself isn't as effective because if we don't see it, we may not see that you've been unmuted. Hey, Mary Lynn, thanks so much for joining us this morning. And so, but the chat's a great time to use it if you have comments when someone else is talking. So we usually start off with a topic and we share about our topic. And then if the topic's all topicked out, we open it for regular Q&A, but it's really kind of just, we kind of flow pretty easily. Jamie and I will talk for a couple minutes about today's topic, which is good intentions and how they can prevent us from connecting to an animal. But then we'll open it up to all of you. We also like to give everyone a chance to speak. So if you've already commented or spoken about something, we ask that you allow other people to before we get back to you. So if you've already talked, we'll usually call somebody else before you. So just know that we always like to give everyone a chance to speak if that's what they'd like, okay? So those are kind of just the general rules. We're pretty relaxed. And this is a really loving, kind community. So it's a very safe place. Also, really quickly, we've had so many people, and Jamie, I know you can second this, who tell us, oh, this is a silly question, right? What do you want to say about that? What do we have to
There is no silly questions because if you've got it, someone else does, or we all do, and we just haven't thought to ask it.
Absolutely. And I think that some people like, oh, I don't have as much experience as all of you. But you know what? The beginning questions are the ones we all struggle with. We all struggle, no matter how. It's not like you learn this system of animal Reiki, the let animals lead method of animal Reiki, and all of a sudden you are this perfect person and you no longer have stress and you no longer have worry and you can be this amazing, enlightened person. It doesn't happen. So we all have these struggles and we all have to go back to the basics and we all will, I mean, we're human, right? Every single day we get crap throwing us, right, Jamie?
We do, and I just have to say, Diane Donahue, I love your little face there.
Isn't that the cutest? That is too funny. So glad to see you, Diane. Diane is very busy. She has a rescue. And I know she just got a really exciting grant for her rescue. So we're very excited for her that she could come.
Mm,
Thank you for joining us, Dana and Monica. Monica is calling in from Croatia. So it's really great to see Monica here too.
yes.
So let's get into, I'm just going to mute everyone just for the sake of having a clean recording. But again, if you have a question, either unmute yourself if your video isn't on, or use the reaction to raise your hand or the music emoji, or if you have your video on, just raise your hand and say you want to talk. So we're going to talk today about good intentions, right? We all are here because we love animals. We all have good intentions when it comes to them. We all want them to be happy, feel loved, feel safe, feel healthy. We want to fix everything. So as humans, it's our job. We're always fixing everything, right? We see something happening. I want to fix that. I want to heal that. I want to make that better. And instead, what we have is a bigger gift. We have the gift of love and light. So this practice, the Let Animals Lead method of animal Reiki, teaches us how we focus on our light. and how when we shine our light, that's when true healing happens with the animals. When we have a fixation on a certain outcome, so let's say you have an animal that's sick and your fixation is getting that animal healthy, and that's all you're worried about, that can block you from really connecting deeply and offering peace and support to your animal, because you're so fixated on what's wrong and not seeing your animal for that true beautiful self they are inside, which is when you think about the wild, right? You think about animals in the wild, and there is no needing to fix in the wild. There is no need to heal in the wild. So in the wild, like think about elephants. Let's say a little baby elephant is lagging. They'll all kind of support that elephant. They don't try and pick it up and carry it. They just try to support the little elephant. Some will hang back with the elephant to protect it. If an elephant is dying, they gather around in a circle and they hold vigil until that animal is passed. They don't try to fix. They just show us that holding space, which is what we learn how to do in the Let Animals Lead method, is so powerful. And it's what is truly healing. It is what is truly going to help support that animal is love and light. But as humans, we are so used to fixing everything, we want to fix. And what it does is it can take away from that beautiful space that we can create by just being there and supporting that animal. And Jamie, I'm going to turn it over to you to continue on with this.
Yeah, this reminds me of an article I read. It was just a little post or something. And there was a ranger in Africa somewhere, and he was out with this herd of elephants, and he was out of his vehicle and he was standing there, and the matriarch turned and started to charge him. And rather than freak out, he just became calm. He slowed his breath. He stood there, and she ran right up to him, stopped, kind of checked him out, and then she turned around and went back. So that's the power that we learn through this system when we go inward, when we learn to shine our light. These animals respond to it. I mean, this could have been a really bad situation for him, but she was able to tell. She could feel that light coming out, the peace, the love, the compassion that he was radiating. And he was smart enough to know that he had to be calm and, not freak out, and to offer this to her. And it changed the whole situation.
Absolutely. And that's the power of our light, right? That's the power.
Yes.
When we're calming ourselves, we're tapping back into our light. So the elephant sees this beautiful light. There's no threat in our light. That light is what can help heal and support animals. But we can block our light by trying to fix, trying to, like that man could have been like, oh, I need to fix this, or I need to, stop this. He could have done that, and it could have ended up very badly, because then there's, this is going on, right? You start to be in conflict. We as humans are so loving and caring. Like I said, we're all here because we're animal lovers. Hello, Susan. I'm so glad you're here. I need you to stay after the call ends so I can talk to you. Okay. And we want to help serve animals, but the best way that we can serve animals, the best way that we can help animals, is not by trying to fix what's happening, but by going inward and shining light and love, because that's what creates healing. And I can't say that enough times. We've seen it with thousands of animals all around the world using this practice. When we go inward and focus on our light, focus on our love, that is when true healing happens. That is when animals feel seen, they feel honored, they feel respected. And then that's where healing for them occurs, right? Because we're not healers. We say that all the time. We are not healers. We are not healing anyone, because every animal is on their own healing path, just like every human is on their own healing path. So the placebo effect works with human. The placebo effect doesn't work with animals, because you can't convince an animal, oh, this is going to make you feel better. They just know it's going to, or it's not. And remember, they're not afraid of leaving this planet like we are. So a lot of times our good intentions will draw out something, like maybe an animal is ready to pass, but the human isn't ready for the animal to pass. So they will do everything in their power to keep that animal here. They'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars to keep that animal here. And it's not necessarily always in the animal's best interest. The animal might be giving sign, I'm ready to go, but we fear death. We fear the goodbye. We fear what will happen when they do leave us. And so we cling on and we hang on, and we will put everything into saving that animal, even if it's only for a few months. And, and we've all been there, and there's no judgment, but it's allow yourself the possibility to think, do I want to do this for the animal because the animal's showing me that they're happy, they're healthy, they want to live, or am I doing this because of something in my heart, right? And so we've, at that point, when we're focused on ourselves and how we feel, we stop listening to what the animals are telling us. So this is no judgment about if you're going to try to extend your animal's life, but it's really allowing yourself that space so that you can step back and listen and understand what the animal is showing you, because animals will always show us. They're very, very good about communicating. You don't have to be an animal communicator. I'm not an animal communicator. Animals will tell us and show us. I had a dog, a Shar Pei, that I loved deeply, and he had a disease, and I did everything I could to extend his life. And one day he just wouldn't come out of his dog. I had like out in the yard. He slept in, he was an inside dog, but there was a dog house, and he crawled in and he wouldn't come out. And it was really horrible. And I was crying and bawling, and I took him to the vet, and the vet said, he's trying to let go. And I let him go. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do that to another dog again. I can't allow my own pain to trump their desires and what they want. So even though my intentions were good, my intention was to help support my animal to prolong his life. He was telling me, it's time to go. It's time for me to go. And he gave me all kinds, when I looked back, he gave me all kinds of signals. It's okay. I'm okay to go. But yet, I was hanging on. He was hanging on for me. And the minute I was able to say, oh my God, this is, if you want to go, because he was in the thing, he wouldn't come out. I said, if it's okay, if it's your time to go, I will let you go. I'm sorry, I will let you go. And he kind of crawled out a little bit so that we could pull him out of the doghouse. So they will show us it's time, and it's okay. A lot of times when they leave, they're making room for someone to come through. And as soon as my Shar Pei Rugby passed, I was able to rescue this beautiful little chocolate Shar Pei Snickers, and we gave Snickers an incredible life. So it's a lot of times they're leaving not because they want to leave us, they're leaving so another animal can come through. So we have to keep our minds and our hearts open to all possibilities. Yes, this might seem really tragic and awful, this death of my animal, but then there's always something beautiful behind it. And that beauty can be another animal that really needs you and needs your love and support. And so when this animal passes, this animal can come through. And then, it's a chain. They always come to us right when it's needed. So I'd like to put it back over to Jamie to comment, and then we'll open it up to all of you, because I'd like to have a discussion about this.
Yeah, if good intentions could heal, I wouldn't have spent Sunday night at the doggy ER. Bella wouldn't be going through surgery for her knee. And, so yes, there's times when we can support them, definitely, but we aren't healers. And so I think it's important that we get them the help that they need. But I found, one of the hardest decisions I think any pet owner, parent has to make is that end of life decision.
Yeah.
And for me, it's leading up to making that decision when I know, it's not good. Is it time? And I'm second guessing myself. That's the hardest time for me. Once I make the decision that, what, they're ready to go, I need to let go, then it becomes easier. But that decision is tough, and we all have to make it, and we've all experienced it, I'm sure, and we all know what that feels like. So we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace too. because we are doing the absolute best that we can for our pets and for animals in general.
Absolutely. And I think that for people like Diane has a rescue, and Monica is at a shelter in Croatia where they have 500 dogs. So, there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of passing. And if we get attached to the pain, right, of something happened. So let's say, I know Monica recently, there were some puppies that came in with their mother, and two of the puppies passed. And if she chose, which she didn't, but if she would have chosen to focus on the pain of losing these puppies, focus on the pain of humanity that causes all of these dogs to be in this shelter. If you're focusing on that, right, your good intention is, I want to change the world, I want it to be better. But if we're focused on that negativity, we're blocking the love from coming through, and we're compounding that negative energy that's going out. And whatever we focus on compounds, right? So it builds, it multiplies. If we're focusing on love, sending those puppies off with love, they're little angels now, and focusing your love and light on the animals that remain. Because when we're mad, all the dogs, any of the animals feel is our anger. They don't know that we're angry at this person or humanity in general, or the circumstances of what's happening. All they feel is our anger. That's not healing. But if we can focus on love, then that's what they feel. And animals aren't like us. They aren't dense like us. They feel love, and it makes a difference. We are so, like, we have all of our anger, our worry, our guilt, our shame. We have all of these, just layers of crap on us. And so when someone shows us love, they need to show us a lot of love, multiple times in order for us to finally feel it. With an animal, we can show them love and they feel it. So when an animal is passing, you can show gratitude and love, and that animal ends its life feeling that. At a shelter, we can give love to the animals that are in our care. And if they have to be euthanized, or if they do pass, they've passed knowing they were safe and they were loved, right? And that's really important. So we have to, our good intentions, that's why I say, can get in the way of the miracles that we are capable of creating, the love and the light that we are capable of sharing with animals. So I would like to open it up now to all of you. And so if anyone wants to just raise your hand or unmute, I'll try and watch this. You too, Jamie, if you see anybody. And just, any comments. Oh yeah, Moira. Lovely.
What you've been saying, I'm brand new to everybody, so I'm a rookie and I love it. What you were saying, with my own dog, it was the hardest thing, because the vet says one thing. The vet said, "Oh, you're gonna go home. Your dog's gonna be okay," and I left there thinking everything's gonna be okay, and I walked in the house and my dog died right by the refrigerator. You were saying giving signals. She didn't want to get out of the car, and I missed it. But then I said, when she passed, I just held her and just said, thank you for what you gave me. Thank you for what I've experienced with you. And that night, she came to me and she said, "Mom, you've got to keep doing what you're doing with animals. And the name of your business is going to be Spirit's Journey." And that's what I have on my arm.
Oh,
And that is the name of my business now, Spirit's Journey with Animal Reiki. And yeah.
that's beautiful, Moira. And also if you look at it, she might not have been able to get out of the car because she wasn't feeling good, but she was able to pass it home where she felt safe and she was with you and you could hold her. And so, sometimes these things happen, but again, focusing on the positive, right? Focusing on, I'm so blessed that she was in my life. I'm so blessed that she was able to pass with me at home, right? Where you could hold her and it wasn't in a clinic. And yeah, Mary Lynn said that was so touching. Yeah, it is. And then Monica said, when they die, they make room for someone else. And there's a story about Picasso, who was a dog, that she was at the shelter that was actually, oh, sorry, I lost the thing, that, that was at the shelter that she had a special tie to, who died. And you know my story about Heart, and you know what, Heart lives in Picasso's cage. And so Picasso was a dog at the shelter in Croatia, that just really got close to Monica and just taught her so much about being the light, about being free and not focusing on what was wrong. And he passed away, and another dog came in, Heart, and she came from a situation where she had probably been in kind of not great conditions, tied up outside. And when she came into this shelter, she was completely overwhelmed, was frantic, paced, you know, very stressed out. And Monica kept being patient and just going to her, doing sessions as she could. And she finally started to open up. And there's a beautiful video that we're going to share of Monica's in the vlog, if we haven't already, where Heart is laying next to her, and Monica is slowly, you know, just kind of rubbing her little tummy, and you can see she's completely relaxed. Whereas before, Heart didn't want anyone near her. She was scared of people. She was scared of interaction. And just that patience, that love, and that support switched everything. And now she's in Picasso's cage. So that's really interesting that, and now she has a chance to, and she's a beautiful thing. So hopefully we can get that vlog up so you can see Heart. But it's a transformation, you know. If we focus on what's happening and, oh my gosh, I've got to change this, I got to fix this, we're blocking the light that's within us. We're blocking what can come forward. So if we can stop and just focus on the precepts for today only: do not anger, do not worry, be humble, be honest, right? Be honest with who you are, be honest in your work. You're there to, our work is to shine our light, and show compassion to yourself if you slip, but also compassion to other beings, compassion to other people, and compassion to the animals. And when we do that, we can bring ourselves, our bodies back into alignment, and our light starts to shine bright again. So thank you so much, Monica, for sharing that. And yeah, I hope we get the story of Heart up soon on the Shelter Animal, oh my God, I can't even remember my own thing, Shelter Animal Reiki Association blog. So would anyone else, thank you, Moira, for that. That was beautiful. Would anyone else like to comment? Oh, Wilma, I wish I would have known this way of breaking. We lost 2 of our golden, you know, and that's something that comes up. We learn this system, right? And then we think, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known this with my animals. But you can always meditate and bring them to your heart and say, I'm so grateful for the time I had with you. I'm so grateful for what we had together. I love you so much. You know, energy knows no time or space. So just go quietly, meditate, you know, quiet your mind, quiet your heart, and just share love with your animal, bring them to mind. And, you know, I've told my tiger story a bajillion times, but, you know, I meditated with tigers that didn't even know me for a year. And when I went back to the sanctuary, they knew me as if I was their best friend. And the only thing that had happened was I'd meditated for a year with them and brought them into my meditations. And even though I felt like I was imagining it and I was, you know, just creating something, they felt that connection. Our energy is so strong, but as humans, we think it's confined to our physical body. It can go out into the universe. It has no limitation. We, with our minds, limit where our energy goes, but really our energy is completely limitless, which is another reason why we have to remember to stay positive, even in the face of darkness, to be the light, to shine, to say all is well, because at the end of the day, all really is well. And there's always miracles behind a tragedy. There is always miracles. So Monica said Picasso's story is in the SARA's blog, and she's going to write Heart story. So yes, Picasso's story is in the blog, and it's a really beautiful story. So thank you for that, Monica. And then Tina says, not only can they bring a place for someone new, not only can they bring a place for someone new through the grief, but people also, yes, absolutely. And do you want to expand on that a little bit, Tina? Do you want to unmute?
If I'd like to share my story of my cat Toby, who passed away right at the beginning of COVID. And you know, I've had many cats before who lived very long lives and had passed away. And of course, they were all heartbreaking and very difficult. But they were all older. And I found that Toby's passing was just something about it was different. I couldn't get through it. I couldn't accept it. I'm really good at helping others with grief, especially animals. And it was just a horrible experience. I couldn't find the light. I couldn't find the positive. And so I just knew that that would happen eventually. So I kind of just wrote it out. And a few months after her passing, her brother Claw is our other cat. They grew up together. He was getting depressed. I noticed he was going off on his own. And I wasn't ready for another cat per se. It's one of those things you just know when you're ready. But I felt for him, he would benefit. And so I started looking, and I used to do rescue. And so I know a lot of groups, and I just started looking around, and I even went to meet different cats. And I was just like, no, the timing's not right. It's just not right. There's something, it has to be right. And so a few months passed, and I want to say I had been in this apartment building for about a year, and I noticed this little white kitten at a neighbor's yard. And they were a solo kitten, feral, about 4 months old. The more I looked into it, tried to get to the kitten, I had found out there was a mama there who had many litters. And it was hot, and the kitten was trying to escape, and we were living in the city, and I'm like, I can't let this happen. Now I know most of the rescues were closed, or they had limited hours. And so I said, well, I'll take her in for now. You know how that goes, right? And I'll just see. I don't want a kitten. I don't want a cat at all, right? Like Toby, I couldn't even say her name for 2 years. If that tells you how hard it was. So I took her in, and like any feral kitten, typical hissy, all that stuff, but there was other stuff going on with her. And I realized, even if I could get her into a shelter, no one's going to adopt this kitten. I mean, I luckily was working from home, and I sat with her 6 to 8 hours a day, socialization, the whole, caboot. She definitely had some other issues. We went to the vet, I had her spayed, everything like that. And so a few more months passed. And, my son and I were like, I'm like, well, maybe I should reach out to some rescues. She's getting older, and, and so on. And then I finally asked Toby, I can't remember if I was just lying in bed or whatever. And I'm just like, what do I do? What do I do? And that night I had a dream that I was at my father's home, which was the home I grew up in his front lawn, which is one of my favorite places. And she was leading me. She's like, come on, follow me. And I'm following her. And then there's Bobby, the kitten. We named her Bobby with an I. And I said, that's what I needed. We're keeping her, like this was meant to be. Now this, trust me, it gets bigger and bigger, the story. So, and I mean, I knew she'd be very hard to adopt out, but I was like, we're going to keep, we love her. She has, stuff going on neurologically, but I said, we love her. She's not a snuggle bug. I mean, she loves affection with me now. She's 3 years old. It took her 2 years to get on the couch. She's very reactionary, very sensitive. So in the meantime, as I'm living here and I already saw one kitten, I noticed 3 more, like maybe 6 months later. And I'm realizing this is going to get overwhelming quick. I don't have the resources, So I got in touch with Toby's old rescue where she was adopted from, and where Claw was adopted from, the Purr Project. And I reached out to them for help. And I haven't talked to them in quite some time, especially since the COVID going on and things like that. And they got back to me and they're like, well, if you can catch them, we'll take them. And so I was out there every day, becoming their best friend, got them inside. One of the kittens was adopted right away. The other 2 I fostered. And that began the journey of Toby. How do I change that grief? How do I change this horrible, painful situation into something positive? Because I felt like in honor of her, the pain was so horrible. And I couldn't no matter what I read, who I spoke with, there wasn't any turn on how do I take something so negative and just chronically painful and make it into something positive instead of waiting for it. And I realized that by honoring her, by working with the program, by fostering, rescuing, that would help, I hope would help those feelings. And it has. It has greatly relieved that pain. I mean, it's still there, but I feel like this experience has brought so much joy into my life. It's, you know, it's kind of replaced that pain. So now, you know, I've been so fortunate. You know, we finally got the mama spayed, but I have rescued so many kittens and cats from this colony that have gone to homes that are just amazing. And I'm fortunate the majority of parents keep in contact with me. And even today I'm getting back a rescue. I'm just fostering while they're on vacation. And it's been a wonderful experience because I've met some wonderful people. I have a rescue family now. And that would have never happened, yes, if I wasn't not only looking, but taking an opportunity, taking that extra step to see how can I turn that grief into something good.
I love that. Instead of focusing on that pain and going inward, and then again, right, you know, it's not, that's not necessarily a good intention, but it's like where we start to think about ourselves and not, but how can I do this? Because again, animals are here to help us grow. They're here to help us get back to who we truly are in that beautiful space. And so I love how Tofi did that for you.
Well, thank you for letting me share that. It's, you know, it's a story that means a lot to me. And I feel like Topi also was a 3-time return rescue. So the rescue I got her from, she was returned 3 times. And I believe the third person said she was too spicy. And she was a tortie, if anyone knows about torties. And let me tell you, she's probably the most amazing cat you would have ever met. She alerted us of fires. My car was broken into. She alerted me. You know, she was amazing with children. All of my neighbors who didn't like cats ended up not only falling in love with her, but they all got torties when I left the building.
Oh my God.
You know, she was just one of the very
off, but we have to, we want to open up, but I'm so grateful.
But thank you.
Yeah, that was a beautiful story. And I love that. And what an honor to sweet little Tofi too, to share that and have us all here. So thank you so much for that, Tina.
Oh, thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, of course. So I'd like to open up. Would anyone else like to share about their experience with this and how, you know, our good intentions? It's well, and I don't know if Diane is
Diane put a note that she has a story she'd like to share.
Oh, yeah, I would love to hear from Diane. So again, Diane has a rescue. She just got a farm rescue recently. So
can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
That image is so funny.
You know, my son did it and I don't know how to change it.
Oh my God.
He must be a gamer.
Yes, he is a gamer.
Yep.
So I have a really quick story for you. About, I guess it's almost 2 months now. I had animal control call me and they said they had a gentleman who was in the hospital. He was going into a nursing home. They weren't sure if he was getting out. And he had this 14-year-old dog who was blind and deaf. And they didn't want to bring it to the shelter. So they asked me if I would temporarily hold the dog till they could figure out what was going on with the family and the guy in the hospital. So the dog came to me completely, like, you know, just disoriented, obviously, you know, blind, deaf, no clue what's going on. The owner's not around. And I was doing Reiki with the dog every single day. And but it was very clear to me the dog was at the end of life. And it just became to the point where the dog was definitely suffering. And I had contacted the owner and, you know, spoke with him at the hospital about what was going on with the dog. And he was just in complete denial that, you know, the dog was at the stage it was. I called his vet and I spoke with her and she was well aware of the condition of the dog. And she said the dog, you know, should have been helped to cross over, you know, many months ago. It suffered from a number of illnesses and, you know, was not doing well. So I know the owner was really just holding on to the dog until he came out of the hospital. He wanted to be the one to go with her. And as fate would have it, he just wasn't able to get out of the hospital. So I had to take the dog to the vet to cross. And it was really hard to have to be with someone else's dog. And I did have him on conference call so he could hear the vet talking and he could hear me. And, we kind of just went through everything step by step with him. But of all the times I've taken an animal that had to be, humanely euthanized, this was one of the most peaceful, beautiful experiences I ever had. And the dog was so grateful and so just calm and seemed to have an understanding of what was happening. And I just kept, saying, all is well. We're going to get through this. All is well. And she did pass very peacefully. And, about a week ago, I finally got a phone call from the man, and he's still in the nursing home, but he was very grateful. He said that through his own trauma of what was going on with him, he could not see what she needed. And he felt so guilty that he had let her linger for so long, but he was super relieved that she was finally at peace.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And and here again, good intentions, right? He had good intentions. He wanted her to stay alive, stay with him. He couldn't see it. And so we have to really be careful of that. But I love how just everything worked where the dog ended up with you being so compassionate, so kind, so loving. The dog was able to get Reiki, and it was a beautiful, peaceful passing. And even the owner came around. And again, there's miracles wrapped into the darkness. We just have to shine light and the miracles come through. Like what Tina experienced, what you experienced, Diana. And I think that is so beautiful. And Mary Lynn said, thanks so much for sharing Bittersweet, but thank you. So thank you so much for that, Diane. Diane, if you stay on the call, when we're done, I'll show you how you can change your, it's an avatar, and I can show you, it's kind of hidden how to do it, but I can show you on screen share. So I'm happy to do that if you want to stay on for just a minute after.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I think that's on your phone, so I'll have to go to my phone and do it. So would anyone, oh yeah, Mary Lynn? Yeah.
Okay. I approached a shelter, a new shelter to me, one that is 5 minutes from my house. And it was the other day, and I went over, I phoned and said, "Hi, I'm your neighbor," and introduced myself and explained about animal Reiki, what I do. And the founder of the rescue had shared with me a negative experience at the sanctuary when some other Reiki practitioners' students came, and it was disturbing to the animals. So I listened through and I reassured her. I said, well, the way I'm trained is I respect, and I went into all of that we do. And I persuaded her to talk to her staff and about my being there and offering for the animals. This is the same sanctuary where the emu escaped that I saw and called in, and who's still on the loose. But nevertheless, it was a really great phone call. We both left on a positive note, and I'm glad I did it.
I'm glad you did too, because that happens a lot. We have to remember that there's the let animals lead method of animal Reiki, which has actually been around longer than any other animal Reiki system. People will say, oh, well, I was doing Reiki with my animals since, 1982, whatever. But when we're talking about a formalized animal Reiki training curriculum, the Let Animals Lead method from Animal Reiki source from Kathleen Prasad is the longest. It's the oldest system out there. Obviously it's only been around. She started in 1998, but she was using human techniques, which a lot of people do, for animals, just adapting them. And then in 2006, she learned the more traditional meditative approach to Reiki, and the animals started to respond. So before that, from 1998 to 2006, she would get some okays, but some absolute no's. Whereas now, from 2006 on to where we are today, there's always a yes. Even if there's a no, there's a yes later, because sometimes it might be, I don't know you, I don't trust you, and we always respect that. But when we come back, there's a yes. And that's because we don't focus on what's wrong. We don't push our energy. We're not beaming. We are just being the light. We're being the sun, right? So our energy is the sun. And we tell the animal they can choose to join us or not. It's completely up to them. And in that space, we're also thanking the animal, showing respect to the animal, honoring the animal, appreciating the animal as our teacher. Because when we sit with an animal, no matter if the animal's sick, stressed out, depressed, whatever that is, we have so much to learn from them. And when we sit in that space with love and gratitude, they feel that. And that's when miracles happen. And that's when openness occurs. But the other systems that come through, they're beaming Reiki, so if you're beaming energy to an animal, animals are energetic creatures. That's how they communicate, is through energy. That's how they sense danger. That's how they sense safety. Everything is through energy. So if I'm sitting there and Bruce has got a hurt arm, and I'm beaming to Bruce's arm, and I'm telling Bruce, I'm going to put my hands here and I'm going to heal your arm. Bruce is like, oh, okay, yeah, that feels good. But if I do that to an animal, it's like, oh my God, you are punching me with your energy. You are focused. They're not focused on what's wrong with their body. They're not like, oh my gosh, my arm hurts my whole life. Oh, this is where all my focus goes. They're not. They're like, oh yeah, my arm hurts, but I'm just going to have to do this now, right? They still move on. We as humans, we focus. And so other Reiki practitioners will focus on what's wrong. And that energetically is off-putting to animals. So there's a great story that Kathleen has on her blog, and we shared it before, Jamie and I did, in one of our calls. It's about horses in Sacramento, and how a Reiki practitioner went in there to the horses, went inside the round pen, and the horses chased her out. And so when Kathleen came with her group, she said, I'm not sure my horses are going to tolerate this at all. And Kathleen said, we don't go in with the horses. We're just going to stand outside. We're going to meditate, and they can join us or not. And of course, what happened was huge transformation. These horses that were completely shut down, completely just zoned out, not connecting, started to open up, started to relax. And after the class was over and Kathleen and her students left, the owner of the property took a video of the horses. These were old, shut down horses, started running, galloping, jumping around, playing with each other on the ground, on their back, because they felt so good. Their emotional states were healed. And that is where our magic lies. It's not in healing a physical ailment or curing them. It's all about creating that space so they feel seen, they feel loved, they feel heard, they feel respected. And in that space, that's where miracles occur, and that's where growth occurs. I don't know, Jamie, if you want to say anything about that as well.
Oops. Let me turn the fan off and my mic on. But that's so true. When we learn to look at the animal and respect them and let them make that choice. We've seen it, all of us have seen it time and time again, where, if you try to force this on an animal because we the road to hell is paved with good intentions, because our intentions are good. We're not trying to hurt the animal when, we immediately put our hands on them, or we're all excited because we have this great thing and we can help you. And that's our ego. Really, then we're coming from a place of ego. But when we approach them as equals, that we are all we're all connected in this web of life, and we are equal. They're just as important as we are. When we do that, they respond. And how often do they really get a human to approach them respectfully, where we're on equal terms and we say, whatever you want to do is okay with me. I'm just going to offer. That doesn't happen. Humans make all kinds of decisions for animals. We decide when they eat. We decide if they live. We're making all these decisions. We tell them where to go, when to walk. And so for a brief moment in time, they meet someone. They don't have to know us. They don't even have to have ever met us before. But you come in on equal terms and you allow them to choose and make decisions for themselves. Imagine if that was you. If you were in a position where, someone was always making your decisions and you couldn't do things. And a lot of people unfortunately are in relationships like that. And then someone comes up and says, it's okay. I'll just be here and hold space for you. And whatever you want to do is okay. How powerful is that? And that's what happens when we do that with the animals. It's powerful.
Yeah, we empower them, right? We give them
Yes.
choice. And empowering an animal creates a change within them. Like you said, Jamie, if you're a human and you're always being suppressed and you finally get choice, just imagine how expansive you feel. And I think that for animals, it's when we do that, they understand that that is true respect, that is true honor. We're saying you do have that choice. So I just want to comment, Jeffrey's got his little cat and he keeps coming through. It's so sweet. I love how the animals join us in our talks. They just kind of, I'm here supporting this. I agree. So we just have a couple more minutes before Jamie's going to lead us in a meditation. Does anyone else have something that they'd like to comment? Oh, yeah, Jeffrey, please.
I really appreciate the verbalization of your method. What it means to let animals lead, and I'm thinking, it occurs to me that same humility is also a good foundation for human to human practice.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm trying to embody in my hopefully reviving business. And I may find more ways to make explicit ties to that. But what you're saying really harmonizes with my 20-year experience with Reiki that's been focused on humans, but animals stop by every once in a while. And as I've always felt that they're the ones choosing, and that there's really what you describe about beaming versus being is really, really important. And it's something that the elders in the Reiki community, I think it's our obligation to teach that to the new kids coming along who get caught up in the razzle-dazzle. So I really appreciate the message that you're giving here.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you saying that about humans too, because I think it's, when we call ourselves healers too, it creates that, I need to heal you. So then the ego gets involved, and then, it kind of like compounds. Whereas animals keep us honest and true to who we truly are, which who we truly are is just love and light. We're not here to fix or change anyone's path, which again is why, the placebo effect can work with humans. So you've seen it, if Jeffrey, you're giving me a treatment and I believe you're a really good healer and I have an ailment, of course it's going to heal, right? Because where does my mind go? My mind goes let's say, I have a broken heart and you're focused on my heart. So then I'm focused on my heart and I can feel this expansion. Oh, I feel this healing. Oh, Jeffrey is healing me. Well, animals don't do that. And so we have to really just allow them that freedom of choice to join us in the space that we're creating and let go of all need to fix and do. And again, good intentions, right? Our intention is to help them, but really in helping them, we suppress them and sometimes we actually offend them. Whereas even with humans, like you said, we do that as well. We offend humans sometimes because we think we know better or we present ourselves as knowing better. And if we can go back to that humility of the precepts, which I really love how you have the precepts behind you there, that we have that humility in everything we do. And that's another thing the precepts bring to us. If we could filter everything we say through the veil of the precepts, this is something that Kathleen always teaches, that when you speak through the veil of the precepts, speak without anger, without worry, with humility, with honesty, with compassion. Now, when you say what you need to say, you're in integrity with yourself and you're not offending anyone else. So if we can share with humans through the veil of the precepts and learn from the animals what the precepts really mean. Like you look at animals, and animals, especially you see like a dog or horse, a cat that's been abused, right? Horrific conditions, yet they have so much love in their heart for other animals, for humans, for, they are there to share their love. It's not going to break them. And we could learn from that. It's our ego really that's driving our pain. It's driving our guilt or shame or suffering. That is what's happening. But if we can heal that with the precepts and know that we are light and love, now we can open it up to all possibilities and not offend humans and create deeper and more meaningful connections with animals. So we are getting to time. Jeffrey, thank you so much. So glad you could speak too. And Jamie, you want to lead us in a meditation. So everyone, thank you so much for coming. I think we said hello. If we didn't, I apologize. And I'm not sure who EQ is, but thank you so much for joining us. We're very happy to have you here. And I don't know what next week's topic is going to be, but we'll find something pretty interesting to talk about.
And if anybody has any ideas or questions, for topics, put them in the chat right now and we'll help us out.
So we are going to go into meditation and then we will end our session for today. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Jamie.
All right. So let's let our light shine as we end this session today. So everyone just get in a comfortable position with your eyes closed and take a couple of deep breaths just to release any stress that you may have built up so far today. And now go ahead and bring your hands into Gasro or the prayer position. Set your intention to meditate and allow your light to shine outward for all the animals and beings that need love and compassion today. And now you can put your hands in your lap if you like. It can be palms up or palms down, whatever's comfortable to you. And begin by taking a nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose. Pull it all the way down to the hara, that energy center just below your belly button. And then exhale out through your mouth, gently out into the space around you. Take another slow, deep breath in, pulling it all the way down to the belly. And this time, visualize it igniting a light inside your belly. And as you exhale out this light into the space around you. Take another breath in, pull it all the way down to the belly, really igniting that light now. And then exhale out the light. Take another breath in, down to the belly, igniting the light. And now exhale out this light into the room around you and out, back to the universe. Take another breath in. Ignite the light. And now exhale this light back out into the space around you and back to the universe. Let's do 3 more. Breathe in, ignite the light, and exhale the light back out. Breathe in, igniting the light, and exhale the light back out. Breathe in, ignite that light down in the belly, and exhale the light outwards. Now let your breath find a natural rhythm, slow and gentle. Your whole being is radiating this light. Every cell in your body glistens with light. You are now a being of light. And this light is shining outward, extending out to the room, through your house, through your community, going out, out, out. And this light just shines so far out, out to the heavens and the stars in the universe. This is the light that resides in all life. And now bring to mind any animal you would like to share it with. Maybe it's your pets that are with you today. Maybe it's some that have passed. Whoever it is, just bring them to mind. And invite them to step into this beautiful light, this space of love and compassion that you have created. Knowing that whatever they decide and however they decide to participate is perfectly fine. It's totally up to them. Just bring them to mind. And once you've offered this beautiful space and invited them in, invite in the homeless animals. Maybe they're living on the street. Maybe they're in a shelter or a sanctuary. Invite them into this space. Give thanks for whatever they decide. And now invite in the wild animals living free on the land. Again, allowing them to decide, and however they decide to participate is perfect. And now invite in the animals that live in our oceans and seas, our water friends. Invite them into this space. And now just allow yourself to sit in this space of light, holding it for all beings. A moment of love and compassion and kindness. The light that resides in all beings, the light that is in you, is reaching out to the light in all animals and connecting. We are one. We are one. We are one. Now go ahead and bring your hands back into Gasha or the prayer position. Give thanks to whoever joined. And give thanks to this beautiful energy that lives inside all of us. Give thanks to yourself for being here today. And when you're ready, go ahead and take a nice, deep, cleansing breath in, pulling it all the way down to the belly, anchoring you back into this reality. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes.